Hello everybody. Alright, practice test 1 on the FTCE Exceptional Student Education Test. I'm going to do a lot of looking down because I'm doing a lot of reading. Number 1, which of the following best describes the least restrictive environment? LRE, a specifically designed instruction provided in exceptional student education classrooms. That's a mouthful. Services offered in the public school by support staff. All students taught core academic subjects by teachers who are highly qualified in content areas. D, a setting as similar as possible to that of students without disabilities, in which a student with a disability can be educated with appropriate supports provided. The correct answer is D, a setting as similar as possible to that of a student without disabilities, in which a student with a disability can be educated with appropriate supports provided. 2. Brandon enters the third grade classroom and begins to stare ahead blankly. He rocks back and forth and makes sounds that are high-pitched. When approached by peers, he screams and retreats into a corner of the classroom. Brandon has autism. Which models of support in assessing the general education classroom are available for students like Brandon? A. No models of support are available for Brandon to access the general education curriculum. B. Support staff, such as behavior specialists, ASD specialists, and paraprofessionals provide collaborative services as well as social and communication skills. C. Brandon can access the general education classroom in all specific areas during lunch and during social events. D. Brandon is placed in general education classroom and a paraprofessional is provided to assist him daily. The correct answer is B. Support staff such as a behavior specialist, ASD specialist, and a paraprofessionals provide collaborative services as well as social and communication skills. I was just thinking, guys, I was doing this, it may be more helpful so we can see the work. If I have the video, you guys may be wanting to see the book. Hopefully we can get the book on here so you can see what we are doing. Three, an IEP team concludes that an individual may be functioning in the range of an intellectual disability. In order to see how a student is performing in comparison to other students his age, the team member decides which of the following should be included on his assessment plan. A. A criterion reference test. B. Error analysis. C. Standard error of measurement. D. Norm reference test. The correct answer would be D, because a norm reference test, guys, compares a student to other students in the classroom. Number 4, IDEA 2004 places more emphasis on assessing all students in attaining the standards, leading to more students being included in a resource room, a general education class, ESOL room, or D, assessment resource classroom. Okay, guys, for number 4, the correct answer would be B, general education classroom, because they want the students to be all-inclusive so we can get the maximum amount of learning, regardless of disability. 5. Kristen is a third grade student with an intellectual disability. She had just been placed in Miss Smith's third grade class. Students in her class are learning their multiplication facts. Kristen is eager to participate in class, but instead of allowing Kristen to do the same activity as other students, Miss Smith gives her a worksheet that she has obtained from a colleague who teaches kindergarten. Which of the disadvantages of labeling is exemplified by her actions? A. This label is causing Miss Smith to lower her expectations of Kristen's performance. B. The label is used to address her behavior. C. The label is being used to explain her lack of interaction with peers. D. The label is being used to limit her resources. Well, the correct answer is A. The label is causing Miss Smith to lower her expectations of Kristen's performance. Kind of like the self-fulfilling prophecy, guys, where if you believe your students aren't doing very well because they have low social economic or they have a label of ESE, then your expectations are going to be lower and their ability will be lower because you expect less. So you're going to give them less, so they're going to learn less. Number 6, Rob is a student with a disability who belongs to a neighborhood gang. He's involved in an argument with another student in math class. Later that night, Rob attends a school-sponsored basketball game. Other students report that Rob has a knife and is threatening to stab a student he argued with earlier. Rob is moved from the basketball game. He's removed from it. Members of the IEP team decide to place Rob at an alternative school for 45 days. Were Rob's rights violated? A. No. The IEP team made the decision to remove Rob, so multiple perspectives were considered. B. No. Schools have the right to remove students who bring weapons to school without a hearing. C. Yes. A student with a disability cannot be removed from school for more than 10 days. D. Yes. A manifestation determination hearing must be concluded before Rob can be removed. And guys, the correct answer here is B. No, schools have the right to remove students who bring weapons to school without a hearing. You bring a weapon to school, you can be removed. Number 7. Miss Abraham is a member of Down Syndrome Association and is attending an IEP meeting for John at the request of his parents. As a member of an IEP team and a teacher of exceptional students, Miss Andrews is nervous about sharing her evaluations of John in front of an advocate. She's uncertain of Miss Abraham's role in the IEP meeting. What type of information can Miss Abraham provide at the request for parents? A. Additional resources and services provided by the Down Syndrome organization. B. A decision that this placement is inadequate. C. A change in the setting for John. D. A paraprofessional for John. And guys, the correct answer is going to be A. Additional resources and services provided by the Down Syndrome organization. 8. Maria has a daughter who has developmental delays and has completed the Early Steps program. What type of paperwork is completed after the transition conference? A. Individualized education plan. B. Transition plan. Form 1 of the IFSP, Individualized Family Support Plan. C. Voluntary Pre-Kindergarten Education Plan. Or D. Children's Medical Services Plan. And the correct answer for 8 is B. Transition Plan, Form 1 of the IFSP, Individualized Family Support Plan. In 1997, a revised funding model for exceptional student education was established, and this is known as A. Mental health treatment and services. B. School Medicaid match. C. Matrix of services. D. School readiness program. And the correct answer for number 9 is C, which is the matrix of services. 10. The program enacted in 2004 in which is designed to prepare 4-year-old children for kindergarten and lay the foundations for success is known as which of the following? A. School Readiness Program. B. Child Care Services Program. C. The VPK Educational Program. Or D. Family Resource Specialists. And for 10, it is C. Voluntary pre-kindergarten educational programs were enacted in 2004 and were designed to prepare 4-year-old children for kindergarten. 11. John pulled the fire alarm during school at lunch last week. Oh no. John is identified as having EBD, emotional behavior disorder. The IEP team is conducting a manifestation determination review. Why is this meeting being held? A. To determine if a student's behavior is a result of his disability. B. To discuss academic concerns. C. To help a student with visual impairments. D. To determine a setting in which the student will receive needed services. A. The correct answer is A. A manifestation determination meeting is held to determine whether a student's misbehavior is a result of his or her disability. The meeting is not held to determine academic concerns, visual impairment, or a setting in which a student will receive needed services. 12. A group of people from the school or school district may attend, and eligibility staffing include all the following except a school psychiatrist, a regular educational teacher, ESE teacher, siblings medical professional. D. A sibling medical professional should not attend the student's eligibility meeting since this person cannot offer relevant information about the student. He or she does not offer direct care to that student. Yeah, that one's pretty simple, guys. 13. Jane has placed her daughter Abigail in the Early Steps program for the past year. Now that her daughter is turning 3, she needs to change her placement. Under IDEA 2004, Part C, what services may be available for Abigail in the school district? VPK educational programs? B, individual educational services? C, hospital homebound services? D, vocational services. 13 is A, voluntary pre-kindergarten. VPK. Educational programs would be the next step in the progression of services provided in the Early Steps program. Individual educational services B are provided for all school-age children. Hospital-bound services C are provided in home for students who can't attend school. And vocational services D are provided in a secondary educational setting. So the correct answer for 13 is A, the VPK educational program. 14. Federal law, IDEA, requires that all students be included in statewide testing. An example to this law includes accommodations in the administration of statewide assessments, a small number of students with significant cognitive disabilities who take Florida Standard Alternative Assessment, C, some students who work and are not required to perform assessments, D, end-of-course exams. 14 is B, a small number of students with significant cognitive disabilities who take the Florida Standards Alternative Assessment. That's the exception, guys, because they have extreme disabilities. 15. Professionals who are itinerant teachers, sorry if I say it wrong, travel between 2 or more school sites to provide services to students, offer knowledge about the entire school community, complete work under the discretion of teachers, help prepare students to leave school for vocational training. 15 is A, travel between 2 or more school sites to provide services to students. 16. Select a statement that does not apply to a well-designed learning center. A, students are more actively engaged in learning. B, students increase proficiency in skills acquired. C, students apply knowledge and skills to novel situations. D, students must have assistance from the classroom teacher. I would say D for 16. It is. A well-designed center should be designed for students to work either alone or in groups without the assistance of the classroom teacher. Okay. 17. Scaffolding is a support process during which students eventually apply new skills independently. Which of the following statements regarding scaffolding would be the most descriptive of students with disabilities? Begin with the students can do. B. Help students achieve success quickly. C. Help students to be like everyone else. D. Help students to be independent when they have the command of activity. C. All four statements of scaffolding into instruction are valuable. However, from the viewpoint of a student who has a disability, he or she expresses a need to be similar to and accepted by his or her peers. If given the opportunity to support, students will most likely work harder at tasks in order to appear more like their peers. So 17 is to help students be like everyone else, because that's what we want in this world. 18. Students with disabilities will have detailed planning of their education and related services in a document known as an IEP. Monitoring of these specific services must take place at an annual review, B, at a 3-year re-evaluation, C, quarterly, D, no review is necessary. 18 is A. At least once a year, annual goals must be reviewed and IEP revised or updated. 19. Which statement does not apply to the curriculum-based assessment? CBA. It measures students' level of achievement in terms of what they are taught in the classroom. B. Results are used to guide instruction. C. The performance of the student is compared to the average performance of students who are at the same grade or same age. D. It is an accurate indicator of student assessed to the general education curriculum. 19 is C. Curriculum-based assessment, CBA, measures students' level of achievement as it relates to what is taught in the classroom. Results are used to guide instruction. It's an accurate indicator of students' access to general educational curriculum. A norm reference test indicates the performance of a student as compared to the average performance of students of the same grade or age. So 19 is C. The performance of the student is compared to the average performance of students who are the same age or grade level. 20. John has entered the first grade at Oakwood Elementary. Miss Jones, his teacher, notices that he omits verbs, puts the wrong ending on a word, and has incomplete vocabulary development for his age. She is concerned that he may have a attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. B. Emotional disorder. C. Intellectual disability. D. Language impairment. D. Language impairment. An uncharacteristic pattern of language development signals the presence of language disorder. Makes sense? Jan, a third grader, has difficulty sitting still and never waits her turn and is consistently interrupting others. She is displaying characteristics of impulsivity, inattention, hyperactivity, hyperactive, impulsive. 21 is D. Jan has hyperactivity, having difficulty time remaining seated, as well as impulsivity, difficulty waiting turn, and interrupts others. Hyperactive, impulsive. 22. Which organization is responsible for publishing and definition and clarification manual that emphasizes the system of support for individuals with intellectual disabilities? So is it A, the Autism Society of America, B, the ARC of the United States, C, the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, D, National Down Syndrome Congress. This was for 22, which is C, The American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities is the correct answer, as this association is responsible for the classification and identification of individuals with intellectual disabilities. Say that 10 times fast. The Council for Exceptional Children is not responsible for clarification and identification of intellectual disabilities, but reports all exceptionalities through its publication. Autism Society of America reports on autism. That makes sense. And the National Down Syndrome Congress reports only on Down syndrome and not all forms of disabilities. Makes sense. Stick with me, guys. You'll pass this test. We got to get through this FTCE ESE test so we can be better teachers and stay employed. 23. Tasks presented with real-world context. I've been teaching all day, guys, so if I may slur my words, please bear with me. Tasks presented with real-world context that lead to real-world outcomes are known as daily activity logs, psychological tests, authentic learning tasks, portfolio assessments. 23 is C. Authentic learning tasks match as nearly as possible the real-world tasks of professional in practice rather than decontextualized or classroom-based tasks. Daily activity logs, which was choice A, provide ongoing information of activities and achievements for students and their peers. Psychological tests, which was choice B, measures abilities that affect how efficiently students learn in an instructional situation. Choice D, portfolio assessment, is a collection of student work that determines effort, progress, and achievement in one or more areas. So 23 was C, authentic learning tests. 24, paraeducationals, that's your para, should share information about a student only when the administrator says it's permissible. The intended receiver is working with the student and has direct need of it. Probably B. C. The student does not mind if it's shared. D. The parent asks that the information be shared. 24 is B. I'll need to go into that further. 25. The mechanism used to ensure that students have met the state standard is effective instruction. Instructional supervision, effective leadership, standardized testing. 25 is D. Standardized testing is the tool used by school districts to ensure that students have met the standards. Standardized testing, standards. Okay, we can work with this. 26. Mr. Rep could have asked his students to compute the mileage between several cities using a mileage key. Instead, he has them create their own maps with a real context because he wants them to see how well they can apply what they have learned to an actual problem. This would be an example of criterion reference assessment, norm reference assessment, performance-based assessment, or D, portfolio assessment. 26 is C, yes, performance-based. Think about it, guys. They're doing a performance. They're doing activity. 27. Assessments that give us an idea what students need to know to achieve grade level performance are referred to as diagnostic assessments, curriculum-based measurement, progress monitoring, norm-based assessments. 27 is D. Norm-based assessments determine how a student's performance compares to other students about the same age or same grade. Diagnostic assessments, which was choice A, the wrong answer, provide specific information about how a student's performing and what she needs to know. Curriculum-based assessment and progress monitoring measure students' progress and highlight the close association between curriculum and student performance. 28. A collection of approaches that promote non-discriminatory assessment practices is known as culture responsive assessment, language variation, shared or sheltered English, standard English language learners. 28 is A, culturally responsive assessment. 29. The term that describes children having been wrongly placed in exceptional student education programs that deny them appropriate educational interventions is cultural bias, disproportionate representation, curriculum alignment, incongruity between teachers and diverse students and families. 29 is B, disproportionate representation. Disproportionate representation refers to children who have been incorrectly or wrongly placed in special education programs. Cultural bias, curriculum alignment, and incongruity between teachers and diverse students and their families are factors that influence disproportionate representation. 30. Crystal was referenced for a comprehensive evaluation due to classroom performance. It was determined that the eligibility meeting that she was not eligible for exceptional students' educational services, but needed alternative planning in order to be successful in the general education classroom. What documentation will the team need to write for Crystal? 504 plan. A, an individualized educational plan, a 504 accommodation, a transition plan. No documentation is needed. B, 30. Yep. 504 plan of accommodation requires students have disabilities or needs but who are not eligible to receive services under IDEA must have accommodations for their disabilities or needs in a regular classroom setting. 31. A second grade student recently enrolled in your school. The student is a recent immigrant from Mexico. Your school determines that the child had not previously been enrolled in school in Mexico due to his parents' lack of funds and due to the lack of transportation to the school. The student's mother has recently obtained citizenship. Once the child began to attend your school, it was determined that the child could not read in English or Spanish. What documentation needs to be written based on this information? A, individualized education plan. B, 504 plan of accommodations. C, alternative instructional plan. D, no documentation should be written. 31D, no documentation should be written because adequate information was provided. Individual educational plan, 504 plan of accommodations, and alternative instructional plan, choices A, B, and C, are correct as the information provided is based on social economic status and lack of transportation. There is not enough academic detail to determine academic goals. 32. The process of requiring students to demonstrate that they have not met specific state standards and holding teachers responsible for students' performance is best described as standardization, proficiency, accountability, adoption. C. Accountability is the notion that people, students or teachers, or an organization, school district, or state department of education, should be held responsible for improving student achievement and should not be rewarded or sanctioned for their success or lack of success in doing so. Standardization is the same format for all who take it. It often relies on multiple choice questions and the testing conditions, including instruction, time limits, and scoring rubrics. 33. Parental signature, which grants permission to proceed through the eligibility clarification and placement process and indicates that parents have been made aware of their due process rights, is referred to as mediation. notice, pre-referral intervention, informed consent. D. Informed consent is a term used to define parent consent. Cool. 34. Parents being fully notified in their native language of all educational activities to be conducted during a non-discriminatory evaluation of their child is called procedural safeguard, parental consent, informed consent, eligibility determination. 34 is C. Informed consent. 35. A classroom teacher, along with a team of other educational professionals, determined that John, who has multiple disabilities, is not able to participate in the statewide assessment. The team develops which of the following to assess John's attainment of educational goals? A. Individualized educational plan. B. Transition plan. C. Alternative assessment. D. Authentic assessment. C. Alternative assessment refers to the type of testing used to assess students who do not participate in standardized state assessment. Individualized educational plan, transition plan, and authentic assessments, all choices A, B, and D, are incorrect as these responses are related to an overall educational plan and are not alternatives to standardized testing procedures. Stop here at 36.